Oh, now Peretz is on. Okay. Thank you, Doris.
I couldn't tell if it's Peretz or Jesse. I can't tell.
Yeah. Okay. So there was a story in Mechuzah, right? And the what do you call it? The names are important there. The names and the locations are important to the story. So the story was on. The story starts on Nun Zayin Beis, but it starts with there was a story in Mechuzah, right? And a guy went into the store and said, "You have wine for me?" And the store owner, Jewish from, told him, "No, I don't." And then the guy went and he put his hands into the bucket and said, "Hey, what is this?" And he shook his hands in there, right? Then the store owner went and threw it into the rest of the wine, into the barrel of wine, right? So Rava Paskin that now to drink it like we discussed yesterday, drinking is never mutter. But drinking is not mutter because we're worried about marriage, intermarriage. That's the reason. Right? It has nothing to do with Avodah Zarah. What?
So something was very.
Okay. So let me. But anyway, so drinking is always awesome, right? But Rava Masadim Vahana. And then Rav Huna Bar Chinena, Rav Huna Breder Rav Nachman, they put out a kol Torah, not the shikuri, which is basically they put out a kol Torah that it's that it was mutter. And then one second here. Sorry, it was Machlekes Rav Huna Bar Chinena, Rav Huna Breder Rav Nachman, right? Rava's camp put out. They publicized that it's mutter, and Rav Huna Bar Chinena and Rav Huna Bar Rav Nachman's camp put out that it's also. That's a Rashi in the bottom. Rashi there says that they were not together in the city in order to be able to battle it out with each other. Right? Meaning the story happened in Mechuzah. Mechuzah was in Rava's city, right? So they weren't there. Rav Huna Bar Chinena and Rav Huna Bar Nachman were not in Mechuzah, which is Rava's home turf, when they disagree with him. That's what Rashi's saying. Right? Now it's mamish. The way they understand Rashi is that this is mamish exactly what goes on B'zman Hazeh. That's why I'm spending time with it. Meaning Rava in his city came out with a psak, right? Then Rav Huna Bar Chinena, right, heard about the psak and said, "I disagree with Rava." But seemingly he only did it when Rava publicized his psak. Now, Rava had the right to publicize all he wanted. He could pass him to his town, right? Rav Huna Bar Chinena and Rav Huna Bar Rav Nachman, I think they publicized it for their town to make sure that nobody makes the mistake that they believe Rava made, right? Which is exactly what happens now. You have one town that comes out with a heter, and then the other town comes out with an itzer, right? But nobody bothers to tell anybody that, everybody should ask their LOR, and every town is different, right? So anyway, so that's what the story was. So now on Talmud Aleph, that's where we pick it up. So ultimately, they got Rava to change his mind.
They were worried that the wine would come to their town? That's what they were worried about?
No, I think they were worried about the psak din of Rava, and they disagree with Rava's psak din.
Why is it their business? Not hit their town. Why is it?
Because once Rava came out with the public, he publicized it. So then they felt that they needed to make sure that their tevra don't go with that psak because they felt that Rava made a mistake, which he did. Rava's backtracked. Now today's daf, we're going to see that Rava Taka changed his mind. They got him to change his mind. All right? The Ikla Rav Huna Breder Rav Nachman Mechuzah. Let's see how that happens. So Rav Huna Breder Rav Nachman traveled to Mechuzah. Right? Amar Le Rava L'Rav Amar Le Rava L'Rav Yokim Shamei. So Rava told his Shamish Rav Yokim, he said, Troik Gali, lock the doors. lock the doors for Rav Huna so that he shouldn't come to me and make me meshug about my psak. Right? The loy nesu inchi the nitzra, that people shouldn't come in and be torrid, disturb me. Right? Meaning he was afraid that Rav Huna bar Pareda Rav Nachman was going to make him crazy about his psak. Right? So Allah Gabe, but anyways, he got in there. So Rashi says, I think Rashi said it, no? No, Rashi didn't say it. I thought Rashi said it. But somehow his shamash didn't do a good job. His shamash let him let Rav Huna, Pareda Rav Nachman in. Because the assumption is that he assumed that this Rava would not mind another Talmud Chacham coming in. So he said to him, what's the story in this situation? All right? He said it's also even Bahana. Right? Which means that he changed his mind. So he says, but aren't you the one who said that shifshuf doesn't make yayim nesef? Meaning you're the one, didn't you publicize that you allowed this wine to be sold? Right? So when it says Eimer Damri, so he said back to him, Eimer Damri, no, when did I say this? Lavar mi damer. I meant the Ha'ud Kamer, meaning I meant except for the money of that particular wine. Right? The Meida Hu Kamer, mi Amri, but on that particular wine did I say it? Meaning basically what he's saying, Rav Huna, now, Rav Huna, let's just see the Pashat shot, the way Rav Huna is saying it. Rav Huna is saying it is that when I mastered it, meaning, again, remember, he put his hand into the bucket, and then the storeman took that bucket and added it to the barrel. So what he said is, I meant that the other wine you could sell, not the wine in the bucket. The wine in the bucket is Taka Asaba Amel. Right? And then, we'll get back to this. Then Omar Rava, and Rava said, "Yeah, now, no, before that, I'm sorry. Basically, and hence you look at this massively long Tosfos here, right? Basically, the way Rashi's understanding shot is Rava is baloneying. Rava's baloneying Rav Huna Pareda Rav Nachman. He's saying you didn't understand my psak. That's not true. He changed his mind. We're about to see that Rava changed his mind. All right? So Rashi says, if you look into Rashi, right into the right, he says, Mishum kisufa ka'amar hachi aval iyu kule shari. Rashi says, the way Rashi understands it, and it's wild. Rashi says that Rava said this baloney story because he was embarrassed that his psak was incorrect. Because he was embarrassed, he made up a story that his psak that was mutar b'hana was only going on the large barrel, but on the small amount that the guy moved with his hands, that he never meant that it's mutar b'hana. So because of embarrassment, he said he changed his story. Right? Taisus, that this huge Taisus, which we won't do, Naphtali, unless you want to do it. Naphtali, maybe we'll learn it with Isla.
I may want to do it. I want to hear what it says, and maybe.
So Taisus, I'll be honest, I didn't do the whole Taisus. I only did a little part of it. But Taisus says, how can you say, like Rashi's pshat, that Rava was embarrassed to admit that he made a mistake? He said the Gemara, he brings rayas from other Gemaras that Rava admitted mistakes before. All right? And he says, and what? And Rava was hiding, is trying to lock his door so that he knows somebody's right. I mean, the whole thing is really shver. It's very shver.
I have a different. When actions come to hockey with China, you told me that we're going to lock the doors, or they agree. Just okay, leave me alone. I'm too busy. I want to do something productive.
No, that's true. But Rava, it seems here, Rava knew that he was wrong.
I don't know. From the first line, lock the door. Okay.
Lamaisa, Rava changed his mind. So he knew he knew they had him. He knew his psak was incorrect. Whatever it is, it's the Taisus goes through exactly. It's a whole technical the whole technical pshat. But Lamaisa, the Rashi is very, very difficult to understand. Again, Taisa's main two kashas, at least we could get that much. Taisa's two main kashas is A, why is Rava making up, according to Rashi, Rava is making up a story because he was embarrassed. That's kasha number one. Kasha number two is that why is Rava not avoiding Rav Huna? Why is he avoiding? Well, he shouldn't be avoiding him. He knew that he made a mistake. And it seems like this story happened after he changed his mind. So let's see weiter. 7 lines down. So Amar Rava, ki asay lo Pumpadisa. Rava said, when I came to Pumpadisa, Akfa Nachmeni Shmaitza Umasnisa da Asir. Nachmeni, that's Abaya, right? So Nachmeni bombarded me with kashas. And he brought a shmaitza, which is a amiroyim, and a brisa. So the shmaitza, what was the shmaitza? There was a story in Avodah, also Shmuel, and Shmuel said that it's also. I mean, there's a similar story where a guy put his hands in the wine and shook it, and Shmuel said it's also no, but Tferia, also Rav Yochanan, and it was in Tferia, and Rav Yochanan said it's also. Some say the reason why he said it is because they were not learned fellows. So since they weren't learned fellows, he said he couldn't be mater bana. Amrali and Abaya said back, Tferia and Arda ain't b'nei Torah, the Mechuza b'nei Torah. He's saying, you tell me Tferia and Arda are not b'nei Torah, but Mechuza are b'nei Torah. Right? Basically, they're having a disagreement over who's got less of an educated Torah. Anyways, the point is that Shmuel answered it. That's the bottom line. Shmuel asked about no. Masnisa, the agardim alem comes to kodach from a nekes vehela. So you have agardim. Agardim are they were the people in charge of the weights and measurements, right? And they would come and they take a straw, a nekes a straw, and they sipped some of the wine, vehela, and they went up. Oisha tom and akais or they tasted the kais. And they went back and they put it back in the barrel. So now the question is it also or not? So this was the story, and they said it's also. And where it says my la bahana, isn't it also bahana? So the Gemara says la ikashasiya. He only asked it to drink, which would be like Rava. The Gemara says listen yamacha. If that's the case, why didn't they say? Why are you saying also? Why not say sell it? Because it's on the sefer, like it says a story in the sefer. Chorom, oivet tzuvim, shaheshid yodei lechavis. It's a chorom. A chorom means, parrots. This is for you, meshuga, right? Rashi calls him meshuga. Right? So meshugana, a guy meshugana. He's a meshuga. It's 4 lines up to Rashi. It's interesting Rashi. He's meshuga. He's a bal marivas. He's a fighter. Mamar lasa shalei b'kavana, and he just does things randomly without any sort of kavana. He just flies off the handle. Right, Benimses Shoyayin, and he was found, and meaning he stuck his hand into a barrel and he thought it was oil, and it found that ended up being wine. So Yamaisa, this was a Maisa v'amru, and they said Yamaka, then you're allowed to sell it, right? I mean that's the sefer. So that means in the ratio when it says that it was also, and they're meaning the sefer. The reason why you're allowed to sell it is because the guy thought it was oil and it was really wine, but in the ratio, where the guy in charge of the weights and measurements was testing the wine and he drank it, he knew it was wine. In that case, he said it's also, it means it's also bahana. So you see, there's both a brisa and a brisa and a amiroim that say that it's also bahana. So to yufta the Rava, to yufta, that is a kasha on Rava, and that's a to yufta. Right? Now that's just the basic way Rashi understands the sugya. Almost everybody disagrees with Rashi in this, right? And says not like Rashi. But point is that Rava 100% changed his mind from original psak, and comes out that if a guy touches wine, even if he doesn't seem to be touching it with any intention to be menasif it's still awesome. Right? And this comes up. Actually, somebody asked it to me today. I don't know whether people are asking these questions because it was in the daf that day. But a guy asked me today, his cleaning lady carried his wine, and she shook the bottle. I mean, the bottle shook. She didn't actually shake it, right? So Lamaisa, we say that it's okay, right? I mean, if it was unintentional, once they shake it, the game is over, right? Anyway, so that's the story with Rava. So Rava, Lamaisa, the psach is that if the guy touches the wine, even if it's unintentionally, it is a problem. Fine. If Yochanan ben Arza, for Rav Yossi ben Noroi, have a yasu kashasu chamra. They were sitting and drinking wine. Also, who Gavra came a person, Amrulay, and they said, meaning a guy. Also, Gavra is a waiter. Came by and they thought he was a yid. Amrulay Tashkinan, and they said to him, "Can you pour us a drink?" Labasa derama lakasa. After the guy poured the drink, he glay milsa david kakavamu. It was megala to them that he's a guy. Tad asar afilu bahana. So one of them paskin that it's also even bahana. V'chad shari afilu b'shasiya, and one mated even to drink. So two total extremes, right? One mated it totally even to drink, and one asar it even bahana, right? Some Rabbi Shimon Levi manda asar shaper asar, or manda shari shaper shami. Shari, the one who said it's asar did a good job, meaning he had what to base it on, and the one that allowed it. Manda asar antam beis. Meimar Amar, because he thought, and again, we had this before, but this is the Chachamim trying to look into what a guy's mentality is. Right? Meimar Amar Sakadai the Rabbana Kihani Shikru Kashasu says we could think that these Rabbanim are drinking beer. That's the passage. It's below their dignity to drink beer. Elavade Haichamru must be its wine, but naspe. And the waiter said, they don't even stop on a guy. When I pour the wine, I'm going to have in mind that I'm pouring this wine to the guy. Man the shari, shapa shari, and the tzaraos are the ones that said also, because it must be he knew they were drinking wine. And the one that says mutter is also coming from a good place. Neymar Rama, because he's saying that the guy's going to think Sakadai was the Rabbah Kihani Samra Kashasu Avada. These rabbis are drinking wine. These rabbis are drinking wine and they're asking me, a guy, to make them drink. It must be, if they ask me to serve them, it must be that they're drinking beer. But he wasn't manasafit. Okay, so now meaning each one had a good reason to think that the guy had no clue. Okay, so says but didn't the guy see? Even if I think it means that what bartender or waiter doesn't know what he's serving, right? He says Belelia was at night, so he couldn't see what he was serving. But you'll smell it. You can smell whether it's beer or wine. The chadata talking about where it's new wine. New wine doesn't smell. But he only touched it with a nakla. A nakla is a ladle. And he's touching it shalei b'kavana, right? For asr, it should be asr. But in more answers, like tzricha de kamayra karuki. It's talking about where he didn't use a ladle. He actually poured it. And that's his koyach. It's coming from his koyach. And any koyach shalei b'kavana, the Rabbanan didn't make a gezeira on it. Right? So Mamela, that's why it wouldn't be also according to that shita. Fine. Fine. Next Gemara. Ravasi asked the Kasha Rav Yochanan, Yain shemasku over k'tavim mao. If you have a wine that so musku means he diluted it. So every wine back then had to be diluted. So if you have a guy that dilutes the wine, so what happens with the wine? So Amralei, if Ema Musgu, why are you saying called musgu? It's called musgu, right? Musgu means to dilute. Amralei, I'm telling you the way it's written. Tabcha tivcha masva yena. Pasuk and Mishlei. She shechts her meat, right? And she dilutes her wine. So you see there, it's called Masra. Amalei, so he said, Lashon Torah La'atz and Lashon Chachamim La'atz. So it's two different Lashonis. Don't mix the two. You're talking biblical Hebrew, and we're talking about regular Hebrew. So don't mix the two. So either way, he says, what's the story? So the guy dilutes the wine. What's the story? Amalei said, Aser. It's Aser. Mishum, Leik Amrin Nazira, Skar Lechamra Leisikra. It says, we tell the Nazir, go around, Leik means go around the vineyard. Skar means to go around. Lekarma Leisikra, but do not go into the vineyard. Meaning, if you're a Nazir, and you're not allowed to drink wine, it behooves you not to walk in there because you're asking for trouble. Right? So the same thing here. Do not ask a guy to dilute the wine for you because you're asking for trouble. So Mamela the Chacham said that it's not allowed. So Rav Yirmiyah Iklu L'Savta, Rav Yirmiyah went to a place called Savta. He saw the wine that the guy diluted, and all the Yidden were drinking it. Right? When he asked them, tell the Nazir to go around the vineyard, not to go inside the vineyard. Right? So, Itmar Nami, Amar Rav Yochanan, Ramila, Amar Rav Asi, Amar Rav Yochanan, Yain Shemos Goy v'Kachavim Aser. Any wine that a guy diluted, it's Aser. Mishum Lech Amr Nazira Skar Lechamra Leisikra. Right? So Mamela, we see that it's Aser. Yeah, so we have three different Gemaras telling us that if a guy dilutes the wine, so it's all Aser. Right? Now, what time is early Shabbos? We got a few minutes now.
Yeah,
You're asking up? Yeah, so I think 6:10. I think they said. I think Plug was 6:26. I think 6:10 on the minchas.
Okay, so for 2 minutes, we'll stop here. But there's a very important tosis here. Mamash important tosis right here. It doesn't even have a dibra maslo. See, it says it's in the wide lines. It says kosav hari or zarua. See it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right under another tosis. 7 lines down. It says kosav hari or zarua. It's very rare to have this type of tosis. What?
It has a heading.
It has a heading, but it doesn't. But it's not a heading as a quote of the Gemara.
Okay.
It's not a quote of a Gemara, right? It's very rare that you have that. Kosav hari or zarua bezman hazeh oivid kasav sheshiftu b'yenesh Yisrael. If a guy goes and shakes his hand, he puts his hands into the yain of Yisrael, mutter l'machri l'oivid kasav. It is mutter to sell it. The loy b'ki b'shikshuk, because the preacher's well. They don't know what they're doing. Shikshuk was, I guess, some sort of avodah, right? And he's saying they don't know what they're doing. Al v'shia aser, right? That's one chiddush. He's saying the goyim nowadays are not the kiyim in this. So if the guy shakes his hand in the wine, we don't have to worry about it. But obviously you can't drink it. I don't know if it's obvious, but you can't drink it. But you're allowed to sell it. Then the next line is v'dafka shaloi nischaven liga kedei lahachas liyisrael asila. And that's only if he didn't do it with kavana on purpose to make the yid, because the guy knows, if I touch this yid's wine, I'm going to mess around with it. I'm going to pass it. That's, meaning he touched it without having that instead. But if we see that the reason the guy is doing this is that he's touching the yid's wine because he wants to make him take a loss, then ahu shari afilu b'shasiya, then it's usher even to drink. And the Rabbanan were not geyser in that case. Right? And it says, right? And he says if he throws something into the bar, meaning the bar of wine, in order to upset the yid,
No, see, Yaakov,
Right.
he said the guy's doing on purpose. Like you could sell it.
He's saying that you could even drink it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you said usher by
You
mistake.
said it was also.
I said usher.
Yeah.
No, I said usher. I thought I said usher if he didn't do it lahachis.
No.
If he didn't do it lahachis, it's usher.
Who's shari?
It's mutter, 100%. It's mutter afilu. I apologize if I messed it up. Then I apologize. Meaning, if the guy was doing this because he's an educated guy, which is interesting in the Taisus, because the first line of Taisus says the Goyim are not educated. They don't know how to shake wine. But they're educated enough to know what the Yidden are educated about. Right? It's interesting. So he knows more Yiddish Torah than his own Torah. Okay, but Shine, he's saying that if the guy knows that if he's going to mess with the Yid's wine, he's going to answer it and he does it on purpose, we don't care. We look him right in the face and say, hey, buddy, the rabbi said it's mutter because you're trying to do this just to tick us off. And in that case, it's perfectly legit. Even the Shasiya. That is the way the Ramah in Yeridea Paskins like this Taisus. All right. Which I don't know if this I don't know if this comes up as manazeh, but if theoretically it would come up, then yeah. Then that's the way we'd be making. You have a shiksa who decides to go crazy and decides to pour all the wine purposely in order to. Well, he said shikshach. I don't know. I don't know. Would he say the same thing by pouring? Let's say the goyish waiter decides, he gets fired. So he knows that he's not allowed to pour the wine. So he decides he's going to pour all the wine in the wine. He's going to put any open bottle. He's going to pour before he leaves. He's going to pour every open bottle into a cup, right? So now we're going to say that it's also. I don't know. I'm not sure. I have to check if pouring is different because pouring is mamish. Pouring is mamish the isser. Being meshachshach is something else. I have to check that. If anybody gets a chance to check it on Shabbos, then please let me know. But anyways, that's the major Taisus right there.
See the last line of the Taisus?
What?
So the rest of the Taisus about the story?
What, the story with the Anas?
Yeah. And the
because he brings the
yeah.
Yeah, I guess we could finish the Taisus. What time is it? 6:01. Yeah, let's finish the Taisus. There was one time a bar of a Yisrael that was full of wine. Anas, Anas, a tough guy. He put his hand into the bar lahachis. There was a zaken echad, Yoresh Shemayim, that in the end, he ended Taka dying of Kiddush Hashem. So I've already said no harapim. The Shamano Shalokach when Ayayin Bekli, and I heard that he took with the Yayin, with the Kli, Vashasam Imenu Mafnei Anas, Kadesh Loye Rogel Lasis came Li Yisrael Acher Ad Kant Lashoynet. They were saying, so meaning this is sort of like damage control. Because if we don't fight this now, it's gonna cause problems to Klal Yisrael. Right? Pretty wild, yes. Thanks, Ben, for So anyway, it's a pretty wild story. Point is that now what gives the Chachamim the right to do this? So the answer is because since the whole thing is really a derabanan, the being meshachshach is a derabanan. So they're saying that in this case, where a guy is going to do this on purpose, then the Rabbanan are taking back there. It's a Rabbanan. Right? Anyway. Okay, we'll stop over there. Everybody should have a good Shabbos and Spirit Party.